I am Jeff Foxworthy, and welcome to Gamekeeper Podcast. If you want to learn more about farming for wildlife and habitat management, then, buddy, you are in the right place. Join the Gamekeeper crew direct from Mossy Oak Land Enhancement Studio as they discuss the latest wildlife and habitat management practices, news, and, of course, hunting. There's no telling what you'll learn, but I'm going to tell you, I bet it's interesting. Enjoy.
We're live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, guys. Welcome, West Point, Mississippi. Dudley, Lanny.
Bobby.
We're going to be.
Bobby.
We got an interesting story to hear.
It is.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's one of the few things that can draw my attention off of turkey hunting right now.
I agree. Yeah. So we are in the Alabama finally opened up. Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Congratulations there, my master guide.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you. That was, it's always good to get that one.
You know, you never, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You learn so many things every time you go turkey hunting, and I think you developed a new skill set yesterday.
Oh, that. But what would you say that skill set is?
The off-roading.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Thank goodness it's dry.
Yeah.
What I've got to say.
Off-roading.
Having a dry road system enabled me to move quicker than I probably would have been able to move in the past.
Good thing you're in shape and you go to the gym every day. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have been able to pull it off.
He was in the truck.
Yeah, we're talking about driving off.
I thought you got around him like
He did with the truck. Yeah.
Well, you had to hurry to the truck.
That's a pro move.
Yeah.
That's right. Like, why walk when we can just drive all the way around?
So, guys, let me go ahead and get him introduced.
Yeah.
We've got a man. I'm looking at he's got a bighorn sheep behind him, some elk.
Big old
We've
elk.
got Andrew McKean from Outdoor Life. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, gents. How you
Doing
doing?
great. Thanks for being here. Outdoor Life.
Yeah.
I mean, how big, more of a big, iconic, meaty. I know you were like me, used to just couldn't wait to get out to the mailbox to get your Outdoor Life.
Yeah, read it at night with a flashlight.
That's
And
right.
just-
Yeah.
It was just,
That was my entertainment, Outdoor Life.
what a good magazine.
It is. And the Cabela's catalog. I always look through
Yeah,
that thing
and
too.
you'd have to throw Field and Stream in there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. But you kind of got your inspiration from the Outdoor Life Field and Stream, and then you tried to gear yourself out looking through the catalog.
Yeah, that's
good
right.
stuff,
Yeah,
really.
good stuff.
So Andrew is the hunting and conservation editor. Unless something's changed since the last time.
You got it.
Andrew, what a great job.
Oh, yeah. It's like you guys. I was also that kid under the covers reading Outdoor Life, and I was like, wait, you can actually, I could string words together for this magazine. I mean, it took a while to get there, but I got there.
That's
sure did.
awesome. You've been there a long time.
I have. I think I've had every job on the masthead when we had a masthead.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the time to drop this bomb on
Sure.
you guys. But
Go for it.
it's no longer published.
Yes, I heard that as of last week.
You know, that broke my heart.
Yeah, and we I
well,
think
mine-
we're the only magazine that is still published down here. Gamekeepers.
What are we thinking?
You're either ahead of your time or way behind.
I'd say behind. Yeah.
We still just, I can't, I mean, I just like holding the old school magazine, Andrew.
Well, I just put that we're lucky we have everything else going on, so we can afford to print the magazine. That's for sure.
That's probably our saving grace. And nobody has drilled into the analytics of our magazine yet
We
and
don't.
said, hey,
what are
did
y'all
you do?
doing?
Keep them well away. You don't want accountants anywhere near
That's right.
magazines.
Yeah.
But we do have so many people that like call in and are thankful, and they still look forward to it. People call.
Yeah.
I thought this thing was supposed to be in 4 days ago.
Yeah.
That tells you that.
Yeah,
they really
we're
like
always late. Yeah.
Yes. So back in the day when you guys had millions of subscribers, I can't imagine how they would respond when y'all were a little late with the magazine. Because if we're a week late, we get all kind of nasty phone calls and emails and
Yeah.
and we just got a few.
They were
They
probably
mean
a
well.
little more of a well-oiled machine than I imagine we are. But
Those calls probably didn't reach their way to you, did they, Andrew?
I was the editor in chief for a while, and I have to tell you, we were big enough that we were slotted into a pretty rigorous print schedule, and we couldn't be late. If we were late, I mean, it was millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Just because of press time and all that business. And so our deadlines were serious things. And I mean, I grew up in newspapers, and deadlines were always important, but never as important when you had that kind of overhead waiting on every word and picture. So yeah, it was the real deal. And we weren't late that often, but when we were, we just called it a double issue.
There's a good. We should think about that.
Well, so here's what happens, Andrew. So the winter issue, we're trying to duck hunt and deer hunt, and we get a little behind.
I mean, how are we supposed to remain authentic?
Spring issue, we're burning like crazy out there in February, and we get a little bit behind. Summer issue, we're fishing.
Yeah, and you forgot turkey season in the middle of all that.
And that kind of affects summer
No,
for
it
sure.
definitely
Yeah, if you're going to write about this stuff, you got to be able to do it.
Right.
Keep practice.
Sometimes we get the fall issue on time.
Sometimes.
But it's no more than a week, Andrew.
Anyway.
This sounds like maybe kind of a therapy session. I think, if I was going to advise you at all, now you can take it or leave it, maybe work a year ahead.
Oh, he's getting ahead of things.
I've never
thought about that.
productivity.
I
don't know. We're kind of
We're trying to just get through
spur
today.
of the moment guys here.
I know that was what am I saying? Know your audience.
Andrew, before we get deeper into this, that bighorn sheep behind you.
He is lusting over that
I'd
thing.
love to hear the story behind that. You seem like a mighty young person to have a bighorn sheep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's coming from outdoor life and the whole Jack O'Connor legacy of, sheep hunters and grand slams just kind of in the ether. I was sure I was going to be a grand slammer and I was going to live my life in big, wild, high sheep meadows. And then reality crushed in and I was like, wait, it costs $75,000 to go hunt one of those things, like at the same time I was trying to get married and have kids and all that stuff. So anyway, I actually drew that's a Wyoming bighorn sheep right outside Yellowstone Park, Unit 2. And I was figuring, all right, I'm just going to get on the escalator of preference points. And by the time I draw it, I hope to have one of my hips and maybe both knees. My eyesight's probably going to be gone. And I drew it as I don't know, I had like 10 or 12 years of drawing it. And that big old fat envelope came in the mail. And I could not believe it.
So did they call or anything, or you just go to the mailbox and there it was?
There it was.
Wow. Yeah, that was a good day to go to the mailbox.
And you were the only person to get that? Was there only one?
Yeah, there was only one. I think there might have been something like, as I was non-resident, I live in Montana. This was Wyoming. I think there was maybe two non-resident permits. One was given to the preference point pool, and then they put one up for the random draw. And
nailed it.
You were that guy.
Amazing.
Nailed it. Yeah.
I was that.
Oh, have we got a winner today? We're going to be announcing.
Yeah, toward the end, we're going to spend that.
Oh, yeah, we got some winners this week too. All right.
So was the hunt everything you dreamed it would be?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Actually, just an aside, I went with this guy named Lee Livingston. So as a non-resident Wyoming, if you want to hunt a wilderness area, and basically sheep are wilderness creatures, you got to hire a guide. So through friends of friends, I hooked up with this guy named Lee Livingston. He said, if you're up for it, we're going to horseback into Buffalo Bill Cody's last hunting camp. I said, heck yeah, that's totally turns my crank. That's kind of a story
within itself,
ready to be written. Well, those big fires that just, swept through Yellowstone Park in 1988 had burned the Jesus out of this part of the country. I mean, it was just hollowed out. And Buffalo Bill's camp, there had been a big old, I think it was a fir tree or a spruce tree. They call it Camp Monaco because Buffalo Bill Cody, this kind of showman of the West, iconic hunter, was down on his luck like most of us have been, will be, are, who knows. He hunts all the time. He can't be expected to keep a checkbook.
Right.
So he was kind of getting old, and he invited the Prince of Monaco, this principality in Europe, to come hunt with him. And the Prince of Monaco brought like an ensemble of 30 people. They're all like aristocrats, European aristocrats. And they all camp under this tree. And sometime, I'm sure there was libations involved. They blaze half the tree away, and they put a big carving into it, Camp Monaco. And that thing stood in that clearing for 80 years or something. This was in like 1910, 1912, something like that. Anyway, the tree burned down. Some guys from Cody went and sawed it down in the wilderness, which I don't think you're supposed to do, but they did it anyway, and they helicoptered it out of there. You can go see it in the Buffalo Bill Museum in Cody. If you guys are ever in Cody, it's worth a trip. But anyway, old Lee Livingston says, we're going to camp under this, basically at the stump of this old tree. And I was the camp cook at the time. I said, look, I'll do all the cooking. I kind of like doing that anyway. And I was fetching water one day between exasperating, frustrating, no sheep hunting. And I look where we had the horses all tethered up to the hitching rails, and I found a nickel in that duff, all that kind of turned over stuff. It was from 1905.
Wow.
And the next day I killed that ram. And to me, that just, it put it all together in like such crisp focus. It was the story of a lifetime.
That is a good story.
I mean, give me a break. Drew the tag,
yeah.
stayed in that cool spot, and then found a coin that predated, isn't that right? The carving in the tree.
Yeah. So I've just always imagined like maybe it fell out of the, Buffalo Bill Cody's wool, buffalo robe coat or something. I don't know.
And you're sure your role as the Outdoor Life editor didn't have any influence on this?
Maybe somebody planted it for me to find.
Because it's a great story.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Go ahead.
You still have the nickel?
So I actually wrote about this, and
I would have lost.
And so here's one of the things. Like, I think it's a historical artifact on public land.
Oh.
I don't think I'm allowed to possess it. And so I'm going to leave it open-ended what I did with it.
There you go.
Yeah. Can you imagine that ensemble
I like that.
Along with the Prince of Monaco? 30 people traveling to go out.
And getting up there.
I mean, bless Cody, Buffalo Bill, having to feed all those people. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I mean, and it is, you're just in this, the Shoshone River's right there. So you got water and you got these soaring mountains. Now, of course, it's all a bunch of matchsticks kind of burned out, but you can just kind of blur your eyes and imagine what that must have been like when it was all timbered. And it's still even hollowed out and burned over. It's remarkable country.
I bet it is.
What caliber did you use to kill your sheep?
I used a 30-06.
How about that?
Hey, not 6, baby.
Even cooler.
Yeah, that's
kinda
right.
Like
It's classic.
Jim Zumbo favorite right there. We just had Jim Zumbo a couple weeks on. We really enjoyed him.
Yeah.
So Jim was my hookup with Lee Livingston.
Oh.
They both live in Cody, and Jim. Yeah, so full circle.
There
Right
it is.
there.
Small
Yeah,
world.
Jim's
There.
good.
Yeah, he told us he loves a 30-06.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a beautiful mount. And
What a great story, too.
Yeah, it really is. Golly, and they're such iconic Western creatures, but they are really and truly kind of out of reach for I don't have any. I would love to kill one, but I know I don't. Probably not. It's not in the cards for me to kill one.
You probably don't have enough breath. You know what I mean?
I could make the breath.
He's in
You think
shape.
you
I don't have enough
could?
He's in
bread.
shape.
Breath or bread?
Yeah. Well, and
It sounds like that pickup might get him a long way.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. Lock it in, Bobby.
oh Lord, that truck would not make it to Wyoming, I don't think. All right, guys, let's get serious here.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. So I started Googling about Andrew. Let me just tell a little bit about
All
him.
right.
So Outdoor Life discovered Andrew. Andrew was an amateur boxer and a truck driver before joining the Merchant Marines. And he was discovered by an editor while he was in Cuba. He was in jail in Cuba for assault. Can you, Andrew, what an interesting start to your career.
The interesting thing about that Cuba experience, and they say it was a woman, but it was really advanced party for the Bay of Pigs. And I always thought the Bay of Pigs, I was going to be hog hunting, feral pigs. And so there I was. And all of a sudden, these people came and put me away. And it didn't make any sense until, years later when I got in that, basically went to trucking school. And then it all kind of snapped into focus.
Andrew McKean, Hemingway, all these great writers, they all have a tie to Cuba. And I'm just thankful that Outdoor Life saw something in Andrew and brought him in.
It worked.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just thought I'd share that little tidbit.
That is a tidbit, to say the least.
Tidbit. Look, I noticed you've got Tetra on your hat. Are you protecting your ears with their equipment?
Oh, yeah.
I am a big believer in them. It's funny. I love the hat. I've got the smallest head in America, and it fits me nicely. I have worn their earpieces. I can hear you thanks to their technology. But I do not own a Tetra, and so I'm trying to remedy that at some point.
You know what? They're great guys.
Because,
we know them well. And
Yeah.
good dudes. Yeah.
They make some great
Well,
equipment.
you put in a
They
good
sure
word
do.
for me.
Yeah, we sure will, Andrew. I think they're big boxing fans. So once they hear that story, I
There
think
you
they'll
go.
Pugilist,
go right
isn't
on.
it? A pugilist.
All right, why don't we start? Dudley, you got some rapid fires?
I
I hope
do.
you got
Let's
some
get-
Cuban and some boxing questions in
Yeah,
there.
we ought to.
Well,
There
maybe
you
I
go.
should have known. Okay. Andrew, I'm going to ask you 10 or 12 questions in rapid fire. We're just trying to get to know you better. So
Yeah.
give me a quick answer. Are you ready?
Oh yeah,
Ready.
This is brought to you by Nutrient Ag
Our
Solutions.
buddies at Nutrient Ag Solutions.
Have you ever been heli skiing before?
Never.
What is the highest elevation you've ever been at?
I'm tempted. Okay, I'm tempted to answer that with a metaphysical, answer. But I'm going to say 19,000 feet, 19,523.
That's way up there.
Yeah,
What mountain is that? Denali? What mountain is that?
That's that is in Kyrgyzstan.
Okay.
Mm,
Kyrgyzstan.
One of them
That's-
stands. Yeah.
Have you hunted more in the eastern half or the western half of the country in your lifetime?
Western half by far.
Okay. Name a fish species that you really like to eat.
To eat.
Yes, not to catch.
I love walleye.
Mm,
they are
walleyes
delicious.
are delicious.
That's like the crappie of the north.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
is.
Yeah. What is the most days you've ever stayed in the backcountry at one time?
33, 34. It's over a month.
Wow, goodness.
I'm jealous.
So pick one. Rocky Mountain spring and summer or Rocky Mountain fall and winter?
Oh, what a good one. Rocky Mountain Fall in winter.
Do you normally hunt with lead or copper bullets?
Big game. Ooh, moving more toward copper. I do a lot of upland birds. That's lead.
There
baby.
you go. What is a preparation of elk or venison that you frequently cook?
I am one of those grubby shank eaters. Big, slow cooked braised shank. Usabuco.
Nice.
Our kind of guy.
Golly.
I don't know what
I
he
want to go
just said.
hang out with Andrew wherever he is. That's
That
right.
must be from Kirstanican.
They don't have that at they don't have that at Hardee's, Bobby.
Yeah. Have you ever contracted a tick-borne illness?
Yes.
Let's see. When skinning game, do you typically use a folding knife or a fixed blade knife?
What a good question. Typically a fixed blade knife.
And last but not least, how many acres of public land are you willing to give back to private?
Ooh.
Actually, 12.
12. So that would be going back to you to put a little cabin on in the middle of the national forest.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
The reason I say that, I am actually not one of those, not a single acre, because I actually do think there are a few places that, like, come on, it's not doing anybody any good. Let's get some good use of them and then really preserve.
That's
the
a
ones
good
that matter.
point.
Great point.
I like it.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Good questions, Doug.
That's level-headedness right there.
That's
what
right.
That is.
Yeah. That's what we need. Some level-headedness.
All right.
Dudley, awesome question.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
He is good.
Yeah,
we
he
don't, we don't give Dudley enough credit for
Yeah, Dudley.
Yeah,
for-
yeah.
Maybe
Hit
I
the
need
horn
to
for
up
credit.
it to 20 or 30 per
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
All right, so here we are, Andrew. It's time. You've got one heck of a story. Can you just start at the beginning and tell us this thing?
Well, I'm glad we kind of mentioned the sheep kind of as a bit player in this whole thing, because this does involve Wyoming and preference points. So I had accumulated a whole bunch of elk preference points. I love elk hunting.
Mhm.
I love elk hunting with my bow. I like elk hunting with a rifle. I like elk. I mean, if I could chase them down like Bobby, I probably would just do it, but I need help. So anyway, I had a bunch of preference points for Wyoming. I was kind of figuring out, okay, where am I going to spend them? I coach cross country here. And so like my fall is a little bit preoccupied. So I got to kind of think about seasonality of it. And there's been a place that's just always been on my mind, but it's a hard draw and public access is ludicrous. There's very, very little. So I was talking to my buddy. You should have this guy on, David Falbian. He's an editor for Guns and Ammo. He lives in Sheridan, Wyoming. I was commiserating with him. He's a resident of Wyoming. And so I said, where should I spend these points? And he's like, if you're up for it, I have a deal for you. I'm like, well, tell me more. And David, I hope you do have him on so he can counter this accusation. he's an open-minded thinker. And one of his open-mindedness over the years has been, he's like, McKean, I'm gonna develop a bat wing suit and I'm gonna fly into some of these landlocked parcels of public land. I'm like, that is ingenious.
Yeah.
Let me know how it goes packing an elk out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's been preoccupied with this sort of like airborne access for a long time. And knowing that, I kind of did ask him, like, what do you think? And he's like, I think if you're willing to do it, let's hire a helicopter and fly into this public ground, assuming you can draw a tag for it. I like a challenge. And so it seemed good. And this was, months before the hunting season. And so I put in and I convinced my buddy Ryan to share my preference points. And we both drew. And, then what? So we spent all summer looking at maps, and I drove down to this country and looked at it from the ground. And it is as landlocked as I've ever seen. There is one little piece of public access where you can get into it, but it's a 20-mile hike, and you got to go down these limestone canyons that require rappelling gear and ropes. And again, a little like the batwing suit, I was like, I think I could get there. I don't know how I could get an elk out of there. And I don't want to eat the whole elk in there.
Right.
So anyway, we concluded, let's hire a helicopter. And it was pricey, but it seemed like the best way to do it. And plus, it kind of goes back to your Dudley's public land question a little bit. This is the kind of the simmering issue of the Western hunter is access is pretty interesting. And I've lived here a long time, and it's not getting better, I would say. If anything, traditional access is getting either kind of removed by people buying land because of that access, or there's just more people at the more popular access points. And so kind of the calculus of any big game hunt in the West right now is kind of what's the access like? And so part of my calculus was, if we can legally fly in into this place, we ought to at least think about it. And so we spent a lot of time looking at what the regs were. And sure enough, we could fly from a road into a road. We could land on BLM land inside this big expanse of landlocked country, set up a wall tent and hunt our hearts out. And so basically we decided to do it. And so that's the prelude to the story that has like a bunch of weird plot twists to it. But Bobby, I think what you picked up on was it all worked out. I mean, so I'm used to elk hunts that don't include a lot of the main character. It's like, geez, 4 or 5 days later, like I'd do anything just to see some elk sign. But we, like the first night we were in this place, and the helicopter ride was just something out of like a movie. It was so cinematic and crazy. In fact, we brought a videographer to document this whole thing for Outdoor Life. And there's elk all over the place. Anyway.
So let me ask this real quick. So
I got a couple questions too.
So at this point, like when you're trying to find a helicopter, is some guy out there got some leftover piece of Vietnam equipment and that he's kept up and he's flying it? Or are we talking about a modern new helicopter with all the bells and whistles?
That is such a good question. I'm going to answer it sideways. One of my great bucket lists is going to Eastern Russia, the Chikatma Peninsula, outside of Vladivostok, and hunting bears. And one of the ways you do that is on these old Cold War era diesel helicopters. And I can handle everything about the hunt. The cold doesn't bother me. The snow, just bring it on. But flying in those vintage helicopters just doesn't seem like a recipe for longevity. So anyway, I was a little worried about this. Well, this was Fabian's job. You figure out the helicopter, I'll figure out the rest. And he had talked to 20 Wyoming-based chopper pilots before he found this one guy. And it was I told David, send me a picture of the chopper. I want to make sure that this thing's rust, or whatever. And it is, the thing is gleaming. It looks like a sports car. It is the most modern, high performance chopper I've ever seen. Not that I've got a lot of experience with choppers, but it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, Fabian sounds like if we had left this up to, if Lanny had been in this equation and you left it would have looked like the Dukes of Hazzard that had a helicopter.
we borrowed one. That's what we would have done. Yeah.
All right. So Lanny, did you have a question?
Yeah, just trying to understand, when you're describing the lay of this land, how big of a chunk of public land is this?
Yeah, great question. So it's 50 to 70,000 acres.
Got you. And one
but it's
access,
interesting. because part of it is wilderness. So that we couldn't really hunt there because, again, like we talked about with the bighorn sheep, I would need to have a guide.
Okay.
And so we kind of limited, I think the BLM, it was kind of a scattering of BLM state school trust sections. And there was a good deal of private land interspersed in there as well. So we had to kind of definitely know where we were the whole time. But I'm going to say the huntable area was 40,000 acres probably. I mean, a good chunk of ground that we probably couldn't hunt, in a week. And it's rugged, rough country.
Yeah, I would assume you couldn't land a chopper in a wilderness area anyway. You can't even use a chainsaw to clear a trail in a wilderness area.
Much less drive a chopper down and set up camp. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and the other interesting thing, we looked at fixed wing aircraft flying in there, and it's such rugged country, and there's just no like designated landing strip. And so really, I mean, from a practical standpoint, hiking was out, flying in a traditional aircraft was out. The one thing I will say, we could have and maybe should have done a better job of knocking on every door of the surrounding ranches before we concluded that there was no access. But its reputation was such, there was no access. And so we were willing to kind of like, okay, it's on us to get in there. So yeah, that's how we found ourselves aboard a helicopter with all of our camping gear. And we were planning to stay in there about 10 days. Really, I mean, we were ready. We were prepared for bad snow. We were prepared for just about anything except tagging out in 3 days.
Yeah. So I guess the plan was you fly me in and I'm going to call you, or you gotcha.
We kind of had, that's a great question, honestly. Like, I've hunted Alaska enough where you've got to have like an extraction.
Yeah.
Like, in case I can't get in touch with you, here's the last, here's the drop. I'd say drop dead.
Yes.
I'll still say,
that's it.
Here's kind of the drop dead, come on this day. Unless we call you. And we did have kind of marginal cell service. We got to the higher stuff. So we basically told the chopper pilot, come back on in 10 days unless we get in touch with you early.
Gotcha. And hopefully we got a pile of elk you need to want to help us with. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
It sounds like a fun trip.
I'm telling you, I'm excited. I want to go. You know what I mean?
Well, like, here's the thing, and you guys know this. Like, I mean, solo hunting turns my crank. I love to just strike out and just see where the day takes me. But there's something about camping with your buddies. We had 2 tents. We had, freeze-dried food and enough. I mean, it was a buddy hunt, and just the camaraderie of that, and almost like the challenge and the hardship and just all of the unknowns of it just gelled.
Oh yeah.
We just gelled as a group. And there's something so fun about that it would have been interesting by myself, but it was so fun to share it with somebody.
Had anybody ever done this before? Or were y'all the first?
Actually, that's a good question. Dang.
I'm trying to get an invite out of this eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was a guy who had a moose tag, and actually they had hired the same chopper pilot to bring him in there earlier in the fall. So we hunted in November. I think this guy was in there in September, and kind of figured out landing zone, places that they could basically hunt from there. They never encountered any moose, which I can see. This wasn't really moosey country, but they at least proved the concept.
Yeah. Neat. All right.
So yeah, we, I mean, I was the first one up, and, Bobby, you'll maybe appreciate this, maybe not, but going along with my boxing skills, they call me the predator in chief.
Love it.
That's great. That's great.
And, I'm a meat hunter. Like, I'm not holding out for the biggest rack in the world. But I was also like, okay, I know my reputation. I'm not going to like push anybody out of the way to get the first shot. I'm going to be patient. But the first night we watched all these elk feet out of the timber, and I was like, are you going to shoot
it's
that
a
one?
good
Because
time.
if you're not, I look like I'm right here.
One in the hand's better than one in the bush.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I ended up filling my tag first. And I mean, it was just like ludicrous. Like, it worked. And we were both, I think all of us. So it was David and me and my buddy Ryan and Ben, this other Montana or Wyoming resident who knew something about the area. So he was kind of going along as basically meat packer and comic relief. And then we had the videographer. So there's 5 of us, and we were all just looking at each other like astonished, like, holy smokes, there's elk in here.
So did you have to did they bring in one at a time? You said you were the first in. Or did y'all all load? Was it a big enough chopper y'all could go in there together? So did you hear that chopper effect I threw in there? That was nice, wasn't it?
Pretty good. Yeah, you'd look good in bat wing suit.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
It was small enough it couldn't take us all, and we had a bunch of gear. I mean, we had camping gear for a long time, so duffel bags and tents and sleeping bags and all that stuff. So I think the way it worked, the chopper pilot made 3 trips bringing us in. And I have to say at the outset, like, I'm a quiet hunter. I like hunting quietly, and this was so disruptive. I mean, helicopters are hard to be subtle.
Right,
like this is
know you coming. That's right. Mm-hmm.
3 trips in there. I had this strong sense that everybody knew we were in there. Like all the neighbors, we flew over a couple of ranch homesteads, and it's like, I mean, we're not hiding anything. There's nothing to hide, but it just felt a little like we were being bad company in some ways. It's hard to even put it. Just like we're just so aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost wanted to like apologize to people, like, hey, sorry, we're like in your backyard. You didn't invite us, but here we are, and we'll try to be light on the land. I did. I just felt a little responsibility for being there.
Well, that's good.
So you wouldn't call this a leave no trace type hunt? Well, you did. You probably left without a trace, but
we left without a trace. We tried to be pretty light on the land, but like just the sensory part of it. I mean, that's like we had a big cast a long shadow, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so the second day we were in there, we got into 2 more elk, and all of a sudden, 3 days in, we're tagged out.
Back up. Well, I just want to make sure we got that. You went.
It was day 2, so you harvested your elk on the first night.
And how big was your elk?
It was a good 6x6. I mean, I haven't put a tape on him, but he's a 320 class bull.
From home.
Oh yeah.
He's
320.
He's a shooter.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't blame you. That's a nice bull.
But it was also the smallest of the 3 bulls we killed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so Ryan shot probably a 350 class bull, and then David also shot a dang nice bull that kind of fits slots right in the middle of the 2. Yeah, so we were done, and now we're meat packers, which, I mean, I'm made to pack meat. I love packing meat, partly because it's like just such satisfying. Like I'm done, and now I can turn my attention to like getting the rest of it, the trophy parts out. But that's where this thing took a weird turn and kind of this plot twist we didn't see coming. And this has been really the highest profile part of it. I think just the audacity of hiring a helicopter and flying in is like, that definitely is a head turner. But what happened next was just crazy. So Ryan and I are back at camp, actually doing some video stuff, just kind of recounting what we had experienced and I think we were all actually back at camp. We heard 3 shots kind of back in this backcountry, and all of us, and I think this is a testament to kind of our like I'd like to say kind of big heartedness, but we were like, good for whoever like found a way in here. Like honestly, good for them. And we were like, we're tagged out. I wonder if this guy needs help packing. Like we're here to help. Kind of like we were so sort of self-satisfied, I guess, with the experience. We're willing to share it. Anyway, we heard the shots, and then David and Ben decided, look, you guys are going to slow roll. You're getting to your job of packing meat. We're going to head to the kill site and start packing. It was going to be a hot, dry day. So we had a bunch of water. We had all of our packs emptied out and ready to haul meat. So anyway, I say that because there was this time lag was important. By the time I got to the kill site with Ryan and the videographer, David and Ben were like out of breath, flushed, and agitated. Like something had happened in the intervening time. And we're like, what is going on? And they're just like, turn the camera on. We got a story for the ages here. So like, if you ever look at this video, we are like hearing it for the very first time. Ben and Ryan, or Ben and David got to the kill site, and they're like, I wonder where that other hunter is. And so they just peeled up their binoculars and are looking from this kind of height of land. And Ben sees a guy going across a lower meadow with an elk rack over his back. And like, well, there he is. But kind of odd. He doesn't have a gun. He's not wearing any orange, which is kind of just unusual during hunting season. And Ben's like, I could be wrong, but that looks like Ryan's elk that this guy is carrying. And David's like, no. And Ben's like, before we rush to any like conclusions, let me run up to the kill site and see if Ryan's rack is there. And if it is, no harm, no foul. Well, Ben runs up to the kill site. Ryan's rack is not there.
Wow.
And he shouts to David, like, go after that SOB. Yeah. He's got Ryan's rack. And so they both bail off of this really steep ridge. And they basically chase this guy down who sees him coming, hides in the woods. And Ben, like, legitimately, he's like, I was worried, like there might be gunplay or something. I don't know what's going on. So this guy is sort of like furtively hiding in the trees. And Ben's like, hey, I see you in there. Come out and let's talk about this. What are you doing? And then he says to David, hey, turn on your camera on your phone. Like, let's capture this. And so what you see on the video is kind of what happened next. And this guy steps out of the trees and it's kind of cringy to watch. He is like kind of caught like a rat. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like, he's nervous and it's just a high tension moment. And Ben is like, explain yourself. What are you doing? And the guy's like, kind of first like, oh, well, nothing. What are you talking about? And like, Ben's like, dude, we saw you carry the elk rack in here. That's our elk rack. Where is it? And why'd you do it? And the guy basically says on camera, I took it because I don't want you in here. I'm trying to discourage you from hunting this outfit. Which, is kind of alarming, but Ben, kind of as a local, he's like, he recognizes this guy. This is the owner of the big ranch we flew over. Huh. And the rancher recognizes Ben. And so there's this kind of oddity of like, it's not unlike rural Mississippi or rural Montana. Like everybody kind of knows everybody a little bit. And so that added a little bit of like oddity to this whole thing. Like they kind of know who each other is. But the upshot of it is, this guy absconded with our elk. But it's just a head scratcher. And so basically Ben and David and the rancher go down into this cut, this little eroded cut bank where he had stuffed the elk rack. Interestingly, like there's a couple of things that are just like 8 seconds later, Ben and David never would have seen him in that meadow.
Right.
Like
I was thinking that same thing.
He just would have been out of sight and we would have been like scratching our heads like, what happened to Ryan's rack? And we never ever would have gone looking for it down in this weird out of the way place.
Yeah, you got a helicopter in and all of a sudden a dude's over there taking the rack off your elk and running off with it. That's amazing. Wild.
Yeah.
But like stringing back kind of the chronology going backward, Ryan shot his bull above the guy's ranch house. And late in the day, by the time we took it all apart and quartered it and got all the meat kind of hung out and cooled, we had our headlamps on. And, I know how it is if somebody's in my backyard. You just know their presence is there. And so I'm sure it was like this guy was just boiling. Like these guys are up there. Like he's an outfitter as well who sells guides, elk hunts. And so I think I'm not excusing his behavior, but I'm trying to understand. Like he thought we were stealing from him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In some like perverse way.
He justified that.
He justified his action. How far was he in there from his ranch?
Probably like 3/4 of a mile, and it's not gentle country. So 3/4 of a mile linearly, and then I don't know, 1,000, 1,200 feet
vertical.
Up. I'll tell you what, the dude's in good shape.
Yeah.
He's no Bobby Cole, but he's in good shape.
There's not many of us.
We call him Slim Good Bobby. That's right.
I can't. So you're hearing all this. You just got to be stunned and that this is happening to y'all.
Yeah, and they are like. They can't even believe like it's just like rushing out of them, this story. And we're hearing it for the first time. The videographer is just like behind his camera, just like shaking his head, like, what is going on? But so kind of no harm, no foul, right? We got the elk rack back. We got the meat back. And in the course of the day, and I think this is something like good, honest work of packing meat, it gives you like some mental space to kind of think about stuff. Mm-hmm. And as we packed and sweated and talked, like, what's our obligation here? Like, this guy is ashamed of himself. Like, we don't want to make it worse for him. On the other hand, like, that's theft. Like that, maybe it's hunter harassment too. And so we concluded when we got back to camp that night, we had no cell service down where we were. And we were tired and getting back up into that higher country, we were like, let's at least call the game warden to report it. So at least our side of the story is documented, because maybe this guy is feeling queasy enough about everything. Maybe he's calling in to invent something. Mm-hmm. And we just wanted to have our side. So we called the game warden, and the game warden is actually great. He's just like, he heard the whole thing, and he could kind of hear it in pause on the phone. He's like, yeah, I have never heard of anything like this before. He's like, this is like reverse poaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good perspective. But so weather was coming in, we were tagged out. We spent the next day getting the rest of the meat up, and then we called the chopper pilot in and came out early. And we kind of had a pact among the five of us, like, you know what? This is a sensational story, but we didn't feel like sensationalizing it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Kind of goes back to that. Like, I don't know. It just was out of my character as being a little more of a in the background kind of person. And I don't know, maybe half of us upheld that idea, and the other half like could not wait to tell the world about it. Right. And just pretty soon, by the time we got out to like asphalt roads, like the word was out, and we were getting calls and like, wait, what happened to you guys? And so it was pretty hard to contain at that point. And then we went and talked to the game warden when we came out, and he kind of took a statement, and we gave him our videos and all that stuff. And then basically we came home. I mean, I had more hunting to do. I had, meat to butcher and kind of put it behind me a little bit mentally. I mean, we had this movie to make of everything, and I wanted the movie that we made to reflect both sides of the story. Like part of it, the main reason we went in was to kind of prove up this idea of access. Like it's a legitimate way to access. Maybe it's a little aggressive, but hey, it's kind of what the West has become in some ways too. Sure. And like we proved the value proposition of it. So the movie was going to be about that, but we couldn't ignore what had happened to us either. And just kind of as a journalist, I wanted to tell both sides of the story. So anyway, we did, and the thing has blown up. I mean, it has been, I don't know how many views that thing has got on YouTube.
I bet so. I bet so. So I got to ask more stuff about the helicopter. So did y'all packing the meat out? Was it on board the helicopter? Was there a rack up under it? I mean, did y'all do it all at one time? Did it take you 3 more trips to come out?
Yeah, it did. So I was out. I was the first one out, and what did I take? I took all the camping gear, a bunch of the meat, but there's a belly hook on this chopper, and the belly hook has got, you guys know about those. I'm sure you see them. Well, especially if Nutrient Ag Solutions is your sponsor, those big like feed sacks that are like Kevlar or like that woven nylon.
Super sacks, what we call them.
Wow, this one's a bit like, this must be I'm used to the 50 pounders. This must have been like capacity of 250 pounds or maybe more than that. I bet 500. I mean, big. Yeah,
what we're talking about, has a loop on either corner. It's a cube shape, and I think it holds 1,000 pounds of
2,000
on top of a pallet.
Yeah, it'll hold them.
Okay, that's exactly what we used. Yeah, and so we, I don't think I took any of that, because when the chopper pilot went back for the next trip, he grabbed everything that would fit in one of those big hoppers, and that was all 3 elk racks. I'm going to say 3/4 of the meat. I mean, it was a load.
Yeah.
I know it, because when he came back, I was the only one to unload it. And it took me a while to get all that out of there. And then his last load, he took out the 3 dudes and anything else that was left.
Mm-hmm. So Andrew, the hiring the helicopter was cheaper than doing a guided hunt. Then that's kind of where y'all came to all this.
That's kind of where we all came to it. Yeah. I mean, like substantially cheaper. And especially, so there were 3 of us who had tags. So even, when we took in 5 of us, it was cheaper by far for 5 of us to fly in than for 3 of us to outfit it.
Yeah.
Did the guy apologize or anything?
No, actually on camera, he kind of grudgingly did. Ben is the true pugilist of this group. I mean, Ben was like, his fists are balled up, and I think the guy was like, all right. And Ben kept saying, no, I want you to apologize. That's all I want out of this thing. And finally the guy's like,
okay, I'm sorry.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like when your sister apologizes to you, like, oh,
yeah.
Doesn't look you in the eye, looks at her shoes and apologizes. It was a little bit like that.
Wow.
What an experience. But on the flip side, it sounds like the hunting was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, the hunting was off the hook. And so Bobby mentioned I'm the conservation editor of Outdoor Life in addition to the hunting editor. And this was almost like 2 sides, almost like the good angel is the hunting. No, the bad angel's the hunting angel, and the good angel's the conservation
there
angel.
It is.
And I'm not saying bad necessarily.
No, it's taking and putting back, though. I mean, it is. We talk about it all the time.
And so I see like the conservation side of it, like the reason it was so good is this is a sanctuary, right? These elk are not expecting a helicopter to drop in their living room. And I have to keep that in mind, like our obligation to that place and to those elk. I mean, we followed all the laws, but I think there was a little bit of like, we pushed the easy button in some ways. And that one still kind of rubs me a little bit.
Well, I mean, if you can't access it any other way, which,
right,
you know, like you said, I mean, you can't down climb with a bunch of
meat
on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd be wasting it. That's right.
So I mean, in my mind, you deserve a right, and if that's the only way you can get in there, then you should be able to do it.
And I'm personally getting older in life, and you know, there's something to be said about working smarter instead of working harder.
Know,
I mean,
having said that, you know, when you're at the Grand Canyon or something, the last thing you want to hear is those dang helicopters coming up and down all day. So it wouldn't be cool if that happened 20 or 30 times every elk season in that area, but you're also trying to prove a point. You know, we deserve access to that.
Well, and
that government land.
And you're right. You drew the tag. You know what I mean? If you can figure out how to do it, you can figure out how to do it. I mean, speaking from just, you know, I mean, most of this stuff around here, even it's very small public land access. I mean, there's a lot of land to access, but it's all about how you get there is where the good stuff is. So if you can find a way to do it that nobody else is doing it, the hunting tends to be better. I want to know more about the hunting. I'm when you're talking about this, I'm seeing this chopper sit down. I see this cool camp, and then like, I mean, it's like y'all got some boiling water, and then there's elk just surrounding you. You know, is that how it was, or was it spot and stalk kind of stuff? Or I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the hunt?
Yeah, and what season was it?
Yeah.
So this would have been post rut, like later in November, and so I think there was a couple of things in our favor. One is the weather was open. Like, had it been snowbound, I think the elk would still be in there, but it would have changed the dynamics a little bit. So our main thing, we got in there, we boiled water, we set up, and we started glassing from high points. We saw nothing. We finally did see like 2 bulls back in the timber, but like a mile away. And they were kind of hung up on the side slope. And we're like, you know what? Let's just at least go down to the bottom of this draw and kind of see what happens. But it was a genius move, it turned out, because there's this big timbered ridge that it turned out was full of elk that we couldn't see. And what they did is they fed down slope and then out in the open as the sun got low. There was a spring or a seep down there. It was probably only water that they had available to them. I'm pretty sure that's where they were headed. But as we watched, you know, the 2 bulls that we had seen earlier kind of came out, and then 2 other junior varsity bulls came out. And then we're like, we had better get up into a spot where in case a bigger bull comes out, at least we're in position. So we kind of did that. We had to kind of pussyfoot our way into there. There was some mule deer we didn't want to bump. And like, it was definitely good hunting, but the wind was right. And we just laid up and then waited for the bulls to feed to us. That was the first night. And it just worked awesome. But the second day was, you know, we started earlier because we were already in there, and it was a lucky spot. We saw like one antler tine a mile and a half away. And we're like, it looks like a good bull. Maybe there's more, who knows? Let's just go spend the whole day there. So we went, we packed in there kind of spike camp, and we all took a sleeping bag in case we needed to spend the night outside from our tent. And we went kind of light to cover a ton of ground and kind of see what we could see. And it was hot. Like for November, it was like almost 70 degrees. And knowing elk as I do, like they've got their winter coats on. They don't want to be in the sunshine. And so we kept looking in shady little spots where there was breeze kind of blowing. And that's exactly where we found them, kind of in the open in this canyon country. So it's definitely spot and stalk for those last 2 bulls.
I love that.
So a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Did you see any other hunters while you were back there?
None. I mean, besides this rancher.
Dude running off with his horns.
Was it pristine? Like you felt like you were walking someplace that very, very few people walk?
It was incredible. There are 2 things I'd say about that is our landing zone with the helicopter.
The LZ is what we would refer to that as.
I hear you. I hear you there, chopper.
I got all of the camping gear and all of our kit out of the belly of the chopper and kind of put it in a big pile. And then the chopper took off, and I was waiting for the rest of the guys to come. I looked down, and there's arrowhead flakes right where we are.
Whoa.
It was just like, it was so cool.
I bet.
Like, this is definitely a hunting ground and has been for years. So, but it was cool country. It was real broken country, but very pristine. We never saw, I mean, so we landed on a little rancher 2-track on the BLM country. Actually, it was on a state section, but so there had, ranchers had gone in there. I mean, there's fences, there's signs of human habitation and human use in there, but boy, and we found like an old trapper's cabin down there made out of stone, but just so stinking cool.
Yeah.
Goodness. So the helicopter flew from a public road. Y'all parked your car, your trucks, and they loaded everything up. And I'm surprised that nobody was there when the helicopter came back to say, "What in the world what's going on here? Who have you got? What you got? The Prince of Monaco and his ensemble, or what's going on?"
No, we've got the editor-in-chief of Outdoor Life.
Yeah.
The Predator-in-Chief.
There you go.
The Predator-in-Chief.
That's a funny observation, Bobby, because the one reason I flew out early, I was the first one out there, was I was not Ben Rogers with my fists all balled up. And I thought there's going to be somebody waiting for us at the pickup. And I thought I could explain myself better than the other guys could. So I was fully expecting somebody with their arms crossed waiting for us.
We would have definitely sent Bobby first. Yeah.
I'm the negotiator.
He's the negotiator. That's right.
So, but there wasn't anybody.
Yeah. Nobody had messed with their pickups, and there was nobody there. And
What a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have been really anxious though, coming out of there after all that, like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Yeah.
Well, we were going to spend another night or two back there, but we were also like, this has gotten weird already. We don't want it to get
we don't
weird.
want a chapter 2. That's right.
No, we don't. And if this guy was willing to do what he did, what else might he be willing to do? And so we're just like, you know what? Let's just get out of here. We've made our point, and we've kind of done the damage. Let's go.
Yeah.
I bet he was.
And the cooler is full. Mission accomplished.
I bet he was pretty shocked for y'all to catch him like that.
Y'all had to have unbelievable timing. I mean, just fortunate to be there at the right time to see him. Yeah, and be able to see him. Like when I go out there, it takes me a while to even get, where I can see anything.
Yeah. And your friend that hollered, "Hey,
get
him," because he.
Yeah.
I mean, I could picture hollering at Lanny, and he'd be like, "What?
What?" Yeah.
Well, in the back of your mind, you're wondering, is this some kind of
real?
Is this some kind of sitter crazy man that lives out in the middle of the woods? That's
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
of course, I would have thought
probably all these things going on in your mind.
Yeah, I would have thought I was like, I'm on the wrong place,
or that.
It was interesting. I mean, they reacted on sort of a gut level instinct of like, let's go chase this guy down. Because had they contemplated it, maybe waited for us to catch up, I don't think the outcome would have been the same.
Do you think you would have been able to put 2 and 2 together? I mean, you may not have been able to have any proof, but maybe a game warden could have gone and knocked on his door a couple weeks later, that kind of thing.
Be like, yeah.
But
Frank, we know it was you. Give us the antlers. Yeah.
I think we would have put together those 3 shots we heard, thought there's another hunter in here. He encountered our meat and antlers and just took the antlers.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have had.
So he was going to say that he killed it.
Is that what it was? Is that why he shot? Or did he shoot?
He shot, I'm sure. Although we never saw him with a
gun. We
never saw him with a rifle. So that's a presumption, but I can't confirm it.
And 3 times too. I mean, because isn't that the usual sign for help? I mean, I'm just
think it is. Y'all might have left somebody up there that needed a little help.
Wow.
This whole corner crossing thing and the land that's not available, it's hard to get to. It's just it's a problem that is there an answer to all this?
I really think the answer is kind of what Andrew's talking about, is like, put yourself in other people's shoes and try to be, good representatives of the culture we represent as hunters and outdoorsmen and conservationists. Because, I mean, on the little stuff we fight around here on public land, it's not worth it. I mean, it really isn't. So
I don't know. It's kind of, there's an 80 of public near here that is landlocked.
mm-hmm.
It's making me,
You want to buy the chopper?
Inspiring me to find out how to get in there.
A chopper. You need a chopper.
Just to go squirrel hunting.
I do think there are a couple of keys to the lock. And I think one, I think it's a big issue. And I think it's going to be a bigger issue as we kind of lose more land, and as the remaining land we have becomes more has more perceived value. And I think so, looking at it in this case, there's a wildlife management implication to this, right? These are kind of unhuntable, inaccessible elk, but the state's got some obligation to get hunting in there to manage them. It can't just be a private enclave that's only accessible to the people who control the access. That's just not how our system is designed. And I think, and so if looking at it from the rancher standpoint, if we sort of prove the concept that you can get in there, now all of a sudden his exclusive access is degraded or devalued a little bit. And I actually think those two things are of a negotiating point to say, look, to the rancher, we've got land and water conservation funding from the feds. That's that offshore oil revenue that is supposed to be used for conservation purposes and access. We've got the state of Wyoming's got what's called an Access Yes program. It basically pays landowners to allow public access, and it's incentive-based. They're getting paid for it. I actually think we can do a better job of incentivizing it for people like that rancher to say, okay, for a couple of weeks of the season, you've got exclusive use to it, but later on, why don't we pay you half of an elk hunt or a quarter of an elk hunt to allow somebody to trespass over your place to get in there? You're going to make some money out of it that you wouldn't ordinarily. They're going to get access where they don't have to hire a helicopter. I think the more we sort of open our minds to what is possible, I actually think there's a lot of opportunity to that kind of model.
I've only been, fortunate enough to elk hunt in Colorado and New Mexico, but New Mexico has a ranching, I think, incentive program where, and I'm going to get this wrong, where you can, they get value, I guess, is the best way to put it. The private landowners do, whether it's in the form of more tags for them, for them granting public access, therefore they have more, tags to sell or, again, monetize. But yeah, 100%, Andrew.
Yeah, I think Colorado does something similar with their ranching for wildlife. You have to let the public maybe come in and take some cows or maybe a bull or two, but you get more tags yourself and you get earlier access to the hunting season.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, right.
There's some great things that are going on out in the western states, and
yes,
the corner crossing and the access is one issue that I hope it can be figured out.
Well, I mean, that style of hunting or even backpacking in the summer has just gotten so much more popular in recent years.
Yeah, you're right.
There's places I went when I was younger where you would never see a single person. And now when you camp, you see colored tents all in the background around you.
Same thing for, public access here too. It's gotten more popular.
But, that's just something we're facing, and we're going to have to deal with it the best way we can.
Yeah, because we got a finite resource,
Yeah.
And then people having babies all the time.
Yeah, we want to do what we love,
Andrew, you got a heck of a story.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but I'm going to pull that thread just a little bit more.
Sure.
I think I've kind of, we blame COVID for a lot of that. COVID came and everybody rediscovered their outdoor roots. But I actually think there's some generationally, and talk about having more babies, we have lost so much of our rural connection. The uncle whose place we could go hunt, or granddad's place where, my dad grew up and we could still hunt. And so we've lost that traditional access. And so in some ways, there's more people doing it, but there's also less availability of that traditional private land access that we used to just.
The world's being fragmented.
Yeah, and the big tracks for small tracks. That's right.
And, people value what they have more. Well, I don't know if you would say that. They value it more than they used to.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that bass fishing pond that you used
Could
to
always
always
fish in.
go to as a kid, you can't just pull up and go there anymore. You know, there may be a subdivision built around it now, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Lanny, when I think about them choppering in and choppering out, and how much fun that would have been.
Oh, I bet they were high-fiving.
Oh, yeah, I would have been.
And at some point, you know, that when they're coming to pick you up and you're at the LZ, you'd have to say, "Get to the chopper."
Yeah, of course.
That would be so much fun.
I was thinking like maybe they're blaring the Magnum PI theme song on a turtle box or something when they're flying in.
Love it.
Well, this mustache didn't just happen accidentally. I grew it. For the top.
I was going to draw a comparison to that as quick as I got a chance.
I'm telling you, this is an incredible story, and I'm glad it happened to you because you've told it so well.
Well, thanks. I'm glad it happened to me too, but it keeps you up at night.
And it kind of ended like you said it. I mean, no harm, no foul. Y'all, you know, of course, reported it, but didn't make a big deal out of it. You know, I think the guy probably was like, thought I was going to get away with it, but I didn't. You know what I mean? So,
I think y'all handled it perfectly.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Well, we took our hands off of it and let the authorities. And so the Fish and Game's like, we're not going to touch this. It doesn't seem like hunter harassment, even though I think maybe that would be the charge I would have pursued. Mm-hmm. But the county attorney, I think, is pursuing misdemeanor theft charges. And I don't know what's going to happen. To me, the guy's gotten the shame and I think kind of the psychic punishment that is aplenty. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
But I think it's still alive. I mean, I think that trial is going to be in June, and we'll have to see what happens with it.
Goodness gracious. Wow. Well, why don't we change gears just a little bit? We've got, Lanny, is this the week we're giving away $5,000?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh, Andrew, I'm sorry for that. Well, we do have, you'll be playing for a Newcomb blind that you could, you would really get some use out of it when you're trying to turkey hunt out there in those western states. But Richie, have we got the question ready?
Yeah. Yep. We do have a question ready.
Yeah. What was that?
That's a good question.
What was that?
That was on my end.
Maybe it's that guy trying to intervene.
I'm listening to the podcast.
All right. So we have a listener who left a review on YouTube. He listened to our latest podcast, number 426, Turkey Call History with Brent Rogers. Left a review. Great episode. Can't hit the like button enough.
Wow, I forget we're on YouTube. Yeah, that's good.
That?
Everybody
feeling the love. Thank you.
Tune in and look at Bobby. Check us out on YouTube.
Andrew, this question is so easy. I should go ahead and give this to the shipping department and let them start shipping the package right now. But
yeah. Well, first, before we get to the question, though, I need to ask Andrew, do you like bowl peanuts?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Great, because our trivia here is brought to us by the Peanut Patch.
I'm telling you, Richie, you are doing a great job of emceeing today. You're just picking up your slack, Bobby.
So,
I saw some at Wally World the other day on the rack.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's this super difficult question for you. When was Outdoor Life magazine founded?
1898.
Boom. There you go. How did he know that?
So you probably figured out what his gate code is.
Yeah.
Or his PIN number.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And just congratulations for you guys keeping that brand around and all the information y'all.
Yeah.
Think about all the articles that have been written for.
Oh, and how many, young people they've inspired to get out there and, chase their dreams to hunt and fish.
That's right.
That's right.
Andrew, y'all have just done a remarkable job.
Good work.
Well, thanks. It's actually, we grieved the loss of the print publication, but it's been free. It's been freeing. Like the amount of content that we can put up online and in social. And I mean, it's been cool. It's been a really good transition. So I'm saying keep the magazine, but it's not the end of the world if you don't.
We definitely need some advice, Andrew, on lots of things around here. So.
Oh my goodness! Hey, Andrew and who left that review? They'll get in touch with us.
Oh yeah, so Ryan Williamson. Sorry,
Ryan Williamson just won a Newcomb blind.
All right,
and Andrew, you won for getting that question so fast. We'll get one shipped out there.
A Newcomb blind too.
How about that?
He's a winner.
Yeah.
I bet that would work really good on a riverbank. Duck hunting in the Rocky Mountains. probably set up behind that thing real easy, towed it in.
Yeah, you could. You wouldn't have to have a helicopter to get that one in. So look, a couple of weeks ago, we did a podcast with Pat Strausser.
Yes.
And he had one of these he had a pot call that was made from the
burger press.
No, it was
patty press.
No, Laney, please. It was a piece of oak that I think that was used on the same calls that the Mr. Fox vest, those 10 calls were made from. It was from that same wood. So he had one that we were going to give away. And we've got all those. If you emailed, if you left a review, we accumulated all that. And Mitchell and Richie built this spinning board. And
Is that the Wheel of Fortune?
We're going to spin this real fast.
Whoa.
Hang on, Andrew.
Look here, and we're going to spin it to see who won.
Yeah, we are. So this is being done electronically.
I hope we know them.
In real time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Richie.
Let's go. Oh, got sound?
It's a
That is crazy.
Look here.
I cannot read it, so somebody else is going to have to read it.
No way. It's our buddy, Travis Slezak.
Travis Slezak, you just won that call. So we'll be getting that.
Look, give a little history on Travis.
Travis and I have been chatting on the phone, once every few months for years. And he'll order seedlings and call me and tell me about them and their progress and whatnot. So, we've gotten to be buddies over the years. I've never met him in person, but he's got a cool story, and I'm really happy for you, Travis.
So he's going to win a pot call made out of the wood. Go ahead.
That the 10 calls that were in the Mr. Fox, the 1 through 10
calls
that were auctioned, it's out of that same wood.
Nice.
So that would be very collectible, but Travis, I'm going to urge you to get some blood on that call.
That's right. Go put some meat on the
It's
ground.
made
with
to
it.
use. That's
There you
right.
go.
Wow.
Yeah. And hey, one more thing before we leave this, we've got this Silencer Central suppressor that we're giving away in about a month. And how do they sign up for that?
Just go to the Gamekeeper website and click on the giveaway tab, and you should be able to click out there. There's also should be a link in the show notes. So be sure, because we're going to give that thing away pretty quick.
Yeah, this is a shotgun suppressor, guys, along with a Rete shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a shotgun suppressor. Andrew, did you ever think we would have such?
I never, ever did, but I can tell you they're pretty cool.
They're incredible.
Well, sign up, Andrew. You can win.
Yeah.
I've noticed some of these turkey loads are subsonic. I'd be interesting to
how quiet it is.
Yeah, some of them are like 1,000 feet a second. Those TSS loads.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting to see how quiet that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Andrew, next time that rancher wouldn't even hear you shoot.
Yeah, there you go.
Wouldn't know you were in there.
With a shotgun.
Just trying to help you out there, Andrew.
Yeah.
Well, good. Now we'll get a muffler on that helicopter.
Yeah, that's true. They might hear the helicopter.
There's just all ranges of helicopter. Like these stories he was talking about in Russia. I've heard stories about these old helicopters, and there's only a few people that know how to fly them, and they don't have parts for them anymore, and
they're beating on the dash while it's running. What's the matter with this thing? Yeah,
you've experienced that, Andrew.
I have. Yeah, that check engine light, it does mean something.
Oof.
All right. Well, Andrew, I'm glad everything worked out great.
Yeah, great story.
Thank you for coming on and sharing.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you, besides Outdoor Life, is there an Andrew McKean page that somebody can go and follow you and learn? And
that's probably the best one. I write for Game and Fish, Peterson's, and Sports Field, a little bit everybody. So I don't know, just Google me, you'll find me somewhere.
There he is.
Let's get you to write some stuff for us.
Look at you.
Happily. That'd be fun.
We need a Western flair to our whole gig.
Especially a guy that's got the chutzpah to take a helicopter.
Hardcore.
Yeah. Now I did mention Andrew was a boxer. I don't know if that was all true or not, but I found that very interesting.
Pugilist. Pugilist.
We're just trying to make a good story here, Andrew.
I am now.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yep.
That's right.
This has been fun. Why don't you say goodbye, Dudley?
Goodbye, Dudley.
Get us out of here, Richie.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Gamekeeper Podcast, and be sure to tune in again. Subscribe to Gamekeeper Farming for Wildlife magazine, and don't miss the Mossy Oak Properties Fistful of Dirt podcast with my good buddy, Ronnie Cuz Strickland.